Well, the Trump administration looks like they're lying again to federal courts, especially when it comes to their attempted use of the Alien Enemies Act by declaring the Venezuelan regime to be completely co-opted and in collaboration with a criminal drug gang, Tren De Aragua, because we've got our hands now, through the New York Times and the Washington Post and Freedom of the Press Foundation, of a memo that was created not by a prior administration, but through Tulsi Gabbard, Donald Trump's own director of national intelligence. She looked at all the information, or they looked at all the information, reported back to her that the Venezuelan government did not control Tren De Aragua, which is the very foundation of Donald Trump's arguments to the United States Supreme Court and to federal judges that he has the right to deport people summarily without due process under the Alien Enemies Act, because you need an enemy combatant. You need to be at war with some country. And so this memo, which finally came out in response of all things to a Freedom of Information Act request, blows the lid off it all. This is a big scandal, everybody, and I'm covering it here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Let's get into it. The memo is dated the 7th of April. It is a sense of community memo generated by the National Intelligence Directorate under Tulsi Gabbard. It is reflecting the thinking of the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI. And it says point blank that the Venezuelan government does not control the actions of Tren De Aragua, nor vice versa. Let me read it to you so you know what we're talking about in particular. Here is from the actual, we're going to put up a copy so you see what I'm talking about. This is from the actual obtained national intelligence briefing. It is dated the 7th of April, 2025. Again, not only during the Trump administration, in the last 4 weeks. So he can't blame sleepy Joe Biden or any of the Biden issues or Obama. This is what it says: Venezuela examining regime ties to Tren De Aragua. There are some blackouts here that were produced when the document was produced to the Freedom of the Press Foundation. Here's what it says. This is the conclusion, the majority conclusion of the National Intelligence Community analysts. Tren De Aragua is a transnational gang based in Venezuela that has spread to at least 7 South American and Caribbean countries, operating in, listen to this, loosely organized cells of localized individual criminal networks. Doesn't sound like we're at war with Venezuela, do we, in a loosely organized cell in an individual criminal networks. They have been historically located and broadly benefit from various permissive conditions and incapacities in Venezuela. What the argument is that there's a lax situation in Venezuela that allows the TDA to operate. Not that they support the operation of the TDA, not that the Venezuelan government and TDA are one and the same and are proxies for each other. Then it goes on to talk about where it was formed, where it's spread, including the United States, and what it's involved with. And then here on page 2 of the National Intelligence Council summary under Maduro Regime, it says Maduro Regime leadership probably sometimes tolerates TDA's presence in Venezuela, and some government officials may cooperate with TDA for financial gains. There are instances of cooperation with other criminal gangs. The Maduro regime generally does not impede illegal armed and criminal groups from operating in Venezuela, but it does combat and seek to contain them when it fears they could destabilize the regime or when corrupt deals sour. So they're just in business with TDA. It's not that TDA controls the Venezuelan government, allowing for the Alien Enemies Act to be invoked. This is, folks, this is 180-degree different to what the Trump administration is claiming in court filings and in their appearances. Did you know Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers? They have all the plants your yard needs, like fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and so much more. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. Order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures your plants arrive happy and healthy Plus, get support from trained plant experts on call to help you plan your landscape, choose the right plants, and learn how to care for them. We recently moved into a new house, and it came with 2 big bald spots where grass used to be, but the prior owner's dog wore out. So we turned to fast-growing trees, and their plant experts' advice turned an eyesore into one of our favorite features of the yard, with a few key lime trees suited for our climate and location. Saved us all the aggravation of dealing with unknown landscapers and nurseries, too. Big yard, small yard, no yard. Fast-growing trees has over 6,000 plants to fit any space, from indoor plants to fruit trees to full-size privacy trees and more. And their 14-point quality checklist ensures you're getting the best quality plant possible. Each plant is cared for individually based on their needs, from watering routines to the amount of sunlight, giving your plants the care they deserve from the time they start growing to when they ship to your home. Whether you're looking to add privacy, shade, or natural beauty to your yard, Fast Growing Trees has in-house experts ready to help you make the right selection, with plant experts on call to offer growing and care advice. You can talk to a plant expert about your soil type, landscape design, how to take care of your plants, and everything else you need. No green thumb required. Every plant comes with instructions and tips to take care of your new plants so they can grow to their fullest potential. This spring, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code LEGALAF at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code LEGALAF at checkout. FastGrowingTrees.com, code LEGALAF. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use LEGALAF to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. I mean, we just had Judge Rodriguez, the first federal judge, a Trump judge no less, in the Southern District of Texas, find that Donald Trump's exercise of the Alien Enemies Act was unconstitutional anyway, and that's before this memo came out. Now here's the big bombshell here in the middle of page 2. Maduro regime probably not directing TDA activities. It says, while Venezuela's permissive environment enables TDA to operate, the Maduro regime probably does not have a policy of cooperating with TDA and is not directing TDA movement to and operations in the United States. The IC, which is the intelligence community, bases this judgment on Venezuelan law enforcement actions demonstrating the regime treats TDA as a threat, an uneasy mix of cooperation and confrontation rather than top-down directives characterizing the regime's ties to other armed groups. In other words, this regime knows how to cooperate with armed groups, but it's not doing it with TDA. It more worries about it and sees it as a security threat. Now, let's talk about what this means for the court cases and for Donald Trump. Well, first, what's been the reaction of the Trump administration? Oh, to go after the leakers. Well, Pam Bondi announced, it's the reason Pam Bondi announced that they were going to go after leakers. They were going to go after the press where leakers spoke to them. They were going to prosecute everybody. So that was the first reaction. Then you had Tulsi Gabbard goes on a podcast or goes on with Megyn Kelly and says, oh, this is a misinterpretation of the intelligence community memo. I'm going to post this memo on Legal AF Substack. You can read it for yourself. And you'll see, I hope, that I'm not distorting. I'm just reading words on a page from Trump's own national intelligence community. And so that's the second. And Todd Blanche, who's the bad cop, if that's the right name, for the number 2 lawyer in the Department of Justice, Donald Trump's former criminal defense lawyer, he's again saying, oh, it's a crime that this was leaked. It's a crime that it was leaked. Thank God that it was. And how is it leaked? This wasn't a leak. What happened is the Washington Post and the New York Times started running assessments based on communications they had with people in the know. This document only backs what the people told those reporters, 100%. And now the Trump administration has a lot of explaining to do in the courts, to the federal appellate courts, including the United States Supreme Courts, and to Judge Zinnes, and to any other judge who's looking at Donald Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act and declaring whether it's constitutional or not. This memo should be immediately, if it's not already being prepared, should be immediately filed as additional evidence in all of those cases. There's dozens of them now involving writs of habeas corpus brought by Venezuelans who are exposed to possible deportation to gulags in El Salvador. This is all evidence for Judge Zinnes, evidence for Judge Boasberg, evidence for Judge Rodriguez, evidence for the United States Supreme Court. And we'll continue to follow it right here on the MeidasTouch Network. Take a minute. Hit the free subscribe button here for Meidas. Come on over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button there as well as we continue to grow that channel. We're going to get to 700,000 subscribers with your help this week alone. And then we got a new Legal AF Substack. Legal AF, the Substack. And I'm going to post this memo on the Substack right now, so you'll be able to get it later in the day. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.